So in this video I would like to explain how auric attachments are created and the different types of auric attachments. Now, we create auric attachment and many other imprints and blockages through what is known as an analytical state of mind. This is when we lose track of time, we're in no time, and whatever experience we're having is so intense that we usually have a thought and an emotional energy that charges that thought. And usually in traumatic events, the people go into analytical state of mind and they splinter off, they fracture off their soul's energy and then charge it with this emotion they're having in the moment, with the thought, and it creates an id, an identity or a personality, because whatever thought you had in that moment, it's in no time, and so it stays with you in your subconscious. So maybe you went analogical with betrayal and you have the thought, he betrayed me, and that keeps just playing over and over again in your subconscious, and that creates a frequency that now attracts you to people, places, time, things, and events with similar frequency. So until you absolve on all levels of your awareness that analogical experience, then that's going to stay with you. Another experience is when we are children. When we are children, we're so open to all types of energy that any type of event that has a very dense energy can form in our field. It can create an auric attachment. Now, there are two different types of auric attachments. There are auric attachments that have a soul, which are discarnates. Discarnates are beings that left their body, but they have not gone through the plane of bliss or the tunnel of light. So what happens is that they stay earthbound, and usually they have karmic ties with people that are still here in the 3D, of hatred, of contracts, vows that they think they're still valid. For example, maybe you had a partner in a previous lifetime and you said to him or her, I'll be always with you. You're my true love and I'll be forever with you. And that person died and you moved on and you had another partner, and then you died, you went back and reincarnated again, and you keep having relationships, but that person has not incarnated and they're still attached to you, thinking that that vow, that contract is still valid, and that can affect your awareness. Now, discarnates, when we're doing auric clearing sessions, we find a lot of discarnate projecting low frequency thoughts to people of unworthiness, undeservedness, hatred, judgment. And people that are not aware of this, they might, hear that voice in their head and they think it is themselves. So discarnates are a huge priority, and we remove them by taking them to the plane of bliss so that they can see a life review, move on, and reincarnate again. And we also transmute the karmic tie that connects you to that discarnate, so you're able to let go completely and resolve. Now, the other type of auric attachments are those auric attachments that do not have a soul. Now, the first auric attachment that does not have a soul, and is the highest priority one, is what is known as an occupant. Now, occupants are soul fragments that have a very dense thought form that it thinks it owns the body. Now, imagine this personality, this thought form that has been so emotionally charged so many times through hundreds of lifetimes, and it has a personality of its own beliefs, paradigms, ideas. Pretty much it's like a personality, but full-blown. And the difference about occupants is that they think they own the body. So it's a soul fragment of yourself. It's not an identity entity of itself. It is an identity, but not an entity. It does not have a soul. It's actually a part of you, but it's so built up with beliefs, ideas, thought forms, that it thinks it's an entity of itself. And the only way it can live is through your body. So it will take every opportunity to reactivate itself. And basically when occupants activate, they take over your thought processes, your emotional body, and you in that moment are re-experiencing the past. So there are many different types of occupants. You know, if you think about your energetic system, there are 7 different chakras, and each chakra has a different frequency. Now, for example, in the first chakra, we have issues related to sex, survival, and grounding issues. Fear also is in the first chakra. So if you have gone analogical with thoughts of fear, emotions of fear, survival, or sex, then you can create an occupant, and it is going to be located with that frequency of the first chakra. So when we look into your body through the higher self, your higher self will show us the occupants resonating with the first chakra. Second chakra are issues related to abundance, pain, suffering, victimization. Third chakra, basically self-esteem, power, and control issues, the ego. Fourth chakra, the capacity to cultivate unconditional love, receive love, give love, and issues of betrayal, trust. So if you have gone analogical and created an occupant related to betrayal, it's going to be found there. And usually they're very grayish, dark orbs. You can sense the dense energy they hold. Now, fifth chakra holds issues of speaking one's own truth or not telling the truth, and things related to, one's own expression. Sixth chakra is issues about obsession, perception, and seventh chakra, our connection to the divine with God. So if you have gone analogical with the thought, why is God so punishing, or God is hateful or vengeful, then you will have an occupant there related to that. So in an auric clearing, that's the first thing we do. We scan your multidimensional anatomy, chakra by chakra, frequency band by frequency band, and we look for these occupants, and using specific energy techniques, basically high frequency scalar wave programs, we're able to transmute the energy of that occupant so it dissolves completely, goes back to the void, it becomes no thing, and then you are left with a new space. And at the end of the session, you receive a new program of new souls, new chords, new templates that fills up that space with the frequency and the golden nuggets that your higher self desires you to have, and in order to accrete and own that wisdom from that experience. Now, another auric attachment that does not have a soul is what is known as a portal. Portals are vertical openings in different chakras, and usually people that have open portals are people that suck, or they drain other people's energy into their own field. Sometimes like trying to heal them, rescue them, like, okay, I'll take your pain. And when you have an open portal, basically you are absorbing other energy from places and people, and this can cause fatigue, illness, depression. And basically, not only do you absorb, but your life force energy goes out through those portals. Okay? So, at the end of the session, when we have closed the occupants, we go looking for portals. Close them down, and that keeps the integrity of your field. So the life force energy now can come down through your crown chakra from the higher realms, spiral down through your body, and you let that energy flow out. It flows within your field. Now, the other auric attachments are what is known as wormholes, and wormholes are like tunnels that are attached to our body all the way to another dimension where there are beings that basically feed up from your light energy. So we require to close those wormholes, and so that again you keep the integrity of your field and you don't have any other low frequency entities feeding off from your light. Okay, so auric attachments are a huge problem in humanity. Many people are walking around with a lot of occupants, a lot of portals, and basically they're reacting to past experiences. Those occupants become activated, the emotional charge activates once again, and you're basically reliving a past experience, projecting it to your present moment, and charging that occupant even more and more and more. Now remember, this is subtle energy, but the more you charge these types of fragmentation, the more dense they become, and they can cause even physical diseases. So any type of disease, the source is an energetic blockage in the subtle levels of your multidimensional anatomy. So that's it from Auric Clearings. Make sure you tune in to my other video where I will explain much more in detail what an analogical state of mind, and give you few examples of how we go analogical and how we splinter off, fracture off our soul fragments. This will give you an idea how to have that mind emotional control, so you don't keep going analogical and you don't keep recreating those things. And one thing before we complete is that when we use the techniques of working through our higher self and using energy directing techniques such as the sacred codes of awe, when we do a clearing, it is permanent. And permanent because we are working on all levels of your multidimensional anatomy, not only on the physical, emotional, and mental level, but the higher self, from the 4th to the 15th dimension. And also unplugging the neural net connections in your brain related to that energetic blockage, past analytical experience, or id. So that's a huge thing, and one of the things that I most like about this work, that it is permanent and it allows you to completely close the chapter and move on to the next high level of awareness. Thank you so much for tuning in, and namaste.